Welcome to the Franchising 360 Show, the only show that takes you inside the world of franchising, with hosts Tim Parmeter and Danielle Wright.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Franchising 360 Show. I am Tim Parmeter. With me is Danielle Wright.
That's me.
And this is the show where we are giving you a 360-degree view of the franchising industry. One of the biggest things that comes up in franchising is we kind of need some money to be able to fund the franchise.
Well, how do I pay for it?
Right.
And everyone thinks they don't have any money to be able to do it, when really, we'll find you money.
Well, and the most common way, and the analogy we use a lot of times is, right, you just went and bought that house that costs, I don't know, $800,000. Did you write a check for $800,000 out of your checking account? I mean, there are people that do that. Great for them.
Right.
The rest of us, we get a loan. We
Yes.
pay some money out of pocket and go with a loan.
Correct.
And that's a pretty common way to fund a franchise as well.
Yes, because we've talked about the ROBs, which is using your own money, but most people borrow.
Yes, and so we have a return guest coming on to talk about an SBA loan and what that process looks like.
You're excited.
No, I'm not really all that excited today. So, but I am excited about our Friday franchise fun facts. What do we got, Danielle?
All right. In the theme of borrowing money or money, what is the percentage of SBA loans that go to franchise businesses?
61.2%.
No.
Oh. Higher or lower?
No, you can't ask fact-finding questions.
You're not a good hint giver. 42%.
No, but see, we're back to the way this feels good. It's like it's a no for you.
Wrong again.
You're wrong
Yes.
all the time.
Yay.
Right. So about 20% of all
Okay.
SBA loans are going to franchise borrowers. So isn't a bad number. About 1 in 5 SBA loans are backed that are helping people buy or expand into franchising.
Buy or expand into franchise.
Yep.
Okay. Very good. I did not know that. Right?
Yeah, I didn't either. That's why it's a fun fact.
It is a fun fact.
So that really more people are borrowing money than we think to start franchises.
Well, and we should ask our guest if that's a
Yes.
thing, like what's going on. And we've talked about this a few times here recently. There's a lot of stuff going on.
I hear interest rate things.
In the
We're
world.
not really great. We don't watch the news all that often.
No, it's scary.
It's scary.
It is not exciting in any way, shape, or form. But to see what trends that they are seeing from a borrowing standpoint.
Yeah, and was the government do it? What is SBA like?
I have lots.
I have
all the
lots
of questions.
I see
I
that.
got a lot for her. So when we come back, we have Wendy Skemer, Senior Funding Consultant for Benetrends Financial. And tonight is all about the SBA Small Business Administration Loan Program. That is going to be next here on the Franchising 360 Show. We are back on the Franchising 360 Show. Tim Parmeter with Danielle Wright. And we have a first on our show tonight, Danielle. Did you know that?
First?
A first. This is our first repeat guest.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yes.
okay. Yeah,
she was
sure.
so amazing on the first
Yes.
episode. We had to immediately book her to come back. And that guest is
She's the only one we understand when it comes to this stuff.
Well, that also. So, Senior Funding Consultant for Benetrends Financial, Wendy Skemer. Wendy, thanks for coming back.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I feel so special that I'm your first repeat.
You as well you should, or maybe just the bar was really low with the other jokers we had on, so that's also possible. No, that's not true. Most of them were good. So
Most of them.
But we and I appreciate you taking the Benetrends corporate jet back from your vacation in Spain to be here with us today. So thank you so much for that. And we had you on a month or so back, talking about funding for a franchise, and we went over the ROBs, which is this incredible thing that, and if you missed that, then go back and on our YouTube channel and pay attention to the ROBs. We're going to talk about the good old SBA loan today. So is it fair to say that's maybe the most common way people fund a franchise?
Absolutely. And a lot of times that is a tool in combination with some of these other creative tools.
Gotcha. So back up for a second. So Wendy, give us a little bit of Benetrends financial, like who is Benetrends and what are you guys doing in this process for prospective franchise owners?
Sure. So Benetrends Financial was established in 1983. Starting with the ROBS program, which we've talked about before, and then shortly thereafter added a department to help folks navigate through getting small business loans. Our goal at Benetrends is to help entrepreneurs fund their businesses in the most effective, smart way for now, for during their time they're in their business, and of course for their whatever their exit strategy is. So one of the most popular programs whenever I'm talking to anybody buying a franchise is the ability to utilize an SBA loan. And we work with lenders nationwide to help folks navigate through getting a loan.
Okay, so SBA, let's start with this. Danielle, I've got a franchise fun fact for you. Mm-hmm. Do you know what SBA stands for?
Yeah.
What?
Small Business Administration.
Small Business Administration. So look at that. We're just adding another fun fact for our viewers tonight. And then, so I think there's a couple of maybe things that people wonder, like, so is the government actually given the loan? What is the kind of the I guess the theory behind an SBA loan?
It's a great question because a lot of folks do think that the SBA, the Small Business Administration, does pay the money to the candidate. The reality is when you're using an SBA loan, you are working with an SBA preferred lender. They're nationwide. There are thousands of them. We can help you navigate and find the appropriate lender for you. The role that the SBA plays is because it's a government-backed loan, they have final approval. So you go through the process with the bank, then the bank goes to the SBA on your behalf to get approval and get what's called an SBA number, gets you right in queue to get your SBA loan. So again, the government approves the loan because they're guaranteeing 75 to 95% of that outstanding principal to the bank.
Guaranteeing? Yeah. What does that mean, Wendy?
It means it really incentivizes the bank to lend to folks who are doing a startup business. Now, I know we're going through a franchise, and that franchise isn't necessarily a startup, right? They might be established for years. But in the bank size, the candidate being new to that franchise, it's considered a startup. And it's hard to get the bank to take the risk, to be quite frank. So what the SBA does is they turn around and tell the lender, if there is a default, we will cover part of that default to make you whole or as whole as possible. But one of the misconceptions is that means the candidate is off the hook. And that is not the case. They will make the bank whole, which again will help the bank be interested in lending money and incentivizing them to do so. But you're still on the hook to pay the loan.
So we're talking government stuff, right? So that just makes my eyes start to twitch a little bit, like, government, banks, What is it that Benetrends does in that process to help someone kind of make it less eye twitchy?
We try to make it invisible that the government's involved. So we help you find that lender. A good comparison is when I'm going to buy a house and I need a mortgage, I'm going to go to a mortgage broker and they're going to help me navigate through what's happening in the mortgage environment and then make me with some appropriate lenders. And then I'm off to the races to go meet with those lenders and find which is the appropriate one. The difference between Benetrends and that mortgage broker is that mortgage broker usually lets go at that point. Benetrends does not. So we're going to help you find that match, through the matchmaking process and finding the appropriate lender. But then we're going to help you through the entire process. In some cases, we're doing folks' business plan, cash projections. But most importantly, we are helping with that communication from the lender and helping make sure that you close your loan in a timely manner.
But Wendy, I've got my friend Bob around here at Bob's Credit Union. Bob and I, we go way back. Certainly he can help me way better than Benetrends, right?
Well, I'm sure Bob's wonderful. But it's always nice to have an option in case Bob's offering isn't the best offering. Or what if Bob's underwriter at the 11th hour says this isn't the right franchise or the right opportunity for our bank? And it could be for a variety of reasons, nothing against the lender and nothing against the concept. It's nice to have a company like Benetrends that's going to jump right in and find you another lender.
So what can a candidate do to kind of prep themselves for like these conversations with Benetrends, right? Like you're talking business plan, financial, like projections, like what is it that is important for our viewers to understand how you guys help them through that process? Like what is it that you help them put together?
So for starters, we're going to help make sure they're prepared. One of the most important things to banks right now is credit worthiness and liquidity. So I'm going to make sure my candidate has a 700 credit score and doesn't have a too high of a debt to income ratio. If they do need help with credit repair, we have great resources to help them. And then we're going to talk to them about their liquidity. Do they have enough money to not only make a down payment, which is usually between 10 and 30% of the total project cost, but to also have liquidity post-closing? The bank's going to require that they have a runway, whether they are W-2 employed elsewhere or not. We're going to help prepare them for that conversation. In some cases, we have programs that can help them take the pressure off their cash liquidity where they're utilizing other funds, maybe retirement funds. In other cases, I have folks that literally have borrowed money from a relative to just help them beef up or taken some home equity to make sure that that liquidity requirement is met. So we're just going to make sure that that candidate is a perfect candidate for the bank. And we're also going to make sure that if for whatever reason that bank isn't a good match for that candidate in their eyes, we have a backup plan.
Gotcha. So you're working with not just one or two banks, you're working with tons of them to always make sure you are truly matching that person with the best bank for their franchise. All of that is getting factored together, right?
Absolutely. I mean, currently we have over 60 banks we work with nationwide. We are very picky. We're not going to just work with any bank. We need a proven record. We need to see their understanding of franchising. And we also need to make sure, of course, that they've been approved by the SBA, so they're considered an SBA preferred lender. But we do have an individual in our SBA team. Their job is just onboarding new banks. So they spend a lot of time investigating and validating those relationships.
Wow, awesome. And we're going to get into maybe a few more of the requirements and the process on the SBA loan when we come back here with Wendy Skemer from Benetrends Financial on the Franchising 360 show. Welcome back to the Franchising 360 show alongside Danielle Wright. I am Tim Parmeter, joined again by our guest Wendy Skemer from Benetrends Financial. We are talking about the SBA loan. Wendy, the loans tend to have these things called interest rates and some terms and things like that. Walk us through what that looks like. I know it can change, but kind of where are we sitting right now?
You got it. So a typical SBA loan, 7A, meaning you're not buying a brick and mortar, is going to be a 10-year term. If you end up looking at something where you are rolling into a 504 loan because you're buying real estate, you'll have more of a 20-year term. Interest rates are tied to prime. Prime right now is 7.25%, but it could change by the time this airs. The interest rate for an SBA loan is prime plus 2 to 2.75%. So right now, rates are ranging between 9.25% and 10%. It's always going to be tied to prime. The rates are variable, and I think that's going to be for a long time coming. They are adjustable quarterly. So if we see the Fed start to reduce rates, you are going to see those SBA loans come down in their rates. There is no prepayment penalty on a typical 7A loan. Collateral is usually a question as well, you guys. Do I need to pledge collateral? If your loan's over $350,000, be prepared that you will need to pledge collateral aside from your business assets. If your loan is under $350,000, it will be at the discretion of the lender. Don't worry if you're in a state like Texas, that's a homestead state. We work with you. Again, another reason why you want to work with Benetrends and not directly with the lender. We'll make sure that we know what you can and cannot use for collateral if it's going to be a requirement.
Wow, she said 7A and 5 something.
Do you know
and
what
not,
that stuff? I'm like taking notes here with Wendy. So.
But this is why you use someone and then the interest rate alone scares me. So again, alternative
lending. Don't be scared because when it goes, the good thing is when you start it's high, it's only going to go down. Probably. So, but it adjusts. But
it is expected to go down, and 2 more times in this year, and then hopefully continuing in the following year. So.
Are you seeing that's like that? Is that in your world currently with people you're working? Is it scaring people away from doing SBA? Is it driving more people into doing SBA? What is the temperature right now?
You guys, the desire to be a business owner is way heavier or way more powerful than the worry about the interest rate. If you plug in 9.5, 10.5, 8.5, 7.5, those differences in your monthly payment are not going to make or break your business. The businesses that you're looking at are going to service the debt. You're looking at your projections. You're seeing that happen. I have not seen interest rates impede anybody's interest in becoming a business owner. In fact, we are coming off a record quarter and we are in another record month, and our business has been around since 1983. People are borrowing money like crazy. It's definitely not a deterrent. Sorry for the long-winded answer.
No, I love it. I love it. Because we've talked on previous episodes, like what's the state of the union? Where are we at in 2025? What's the projection for 2026? And I think people just, with the world at large, this leads into a lot of some other questions that we may have for you in regards to the SBA and the government, wink, wink. But I think that's something that says, hey, there's still a lot of opportunity going on in the world that people want to be a part of.
There is, absolutely. And I know, Tim, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I know everybody's worried. Is there a shutdown? What if there's another shutdown? What's happening? Does that affect SBA loans? You're not going to close your SBA loan during a shutdown. But what I've seen in my experience, and I've been doing this a really long time, you don't miss a beat. You keep working with the bank. The worst thing that happens is you're in queue. Government shutdowns don't usually last long, so you don't want to miss a beat. You want to be ready. You want to be in that queue, and as soon as it opens up, they'll start approving the loans at a record pace.
Yeah, it's like those Taylor Swift tickets. You know, she goes on concert. You got to be in queue to win them, otherwise you don't get them, and you're out, and it's sad. So you gotta.
I know, I'm still sad I missed out the last time. Taylor, hook me up next time, please. And so, what are the ranges of loans that we can get with an SBA?
I mean, you can get a micro loan starting at $5,000 on the microloan website. There's some micro lenders. They go up to $5 million. I've had situations where folks are looking at multi-unit. Banks will usually look at one at a time, but there are some banks that'll be interested in bundling that together. But usually you're going to cap out at $5 million.
Okay. If you need more than that, you probably already have that.
Yes. Right. And what's kind of like the timeline of this? I know this is not going to win an award, let's just be really honest, for the smoothest, fastest process in the history of the world.
I'll challenge that though, but go ahead.
But that's why you use Benetrends, so it'll go better.
Well, no, I think, not to take Wendy's thunder, but I think if you're engaged with Benetrends and the lender and they ask you for the things and you make it an urgency, I don't think it takes as long as people think it does, but I could be wrong. Wendy does this for a living, I don't.
I totally agree with you, and I talk about this often. If you're buying something that does not require a brick and mortar location, application to funding can be 4 to 6 weeks. If you're timely and the bank's not waiting for stuff, we will hound the bank. But I need my clients to be timely, so that's really important. If you are looking at something that requires real estate, the bank is not going to close the loan until you find your real estate. So you just want to keep in mind, if you're still looking for your real estate, application to funding could be 4 to 6 months. If you have your location, like I signed somebody up today, they already know where they're going to be, already approved by the franchisor, ready to go. They're going to go through the process so quickly. So a lot of factors are rolling into why the SBA loans take longer. And I do know for a fact that my team helps get it done faster than if you were working directly with the bank, for sure.
Yeah, I always think the holdup is almost always on the person trying to get the loan, right? Something comes back to them and they're like, oh, I'll get to it. And then a day goes by, a week goes by, and then they're mad at the bank when it was really just stuck on their side. But I know you guys are going to follow up on that. A lot of times, you guys, to be fair, it's life insurance.
Yeah. You need a life insurance policy if you're taking out an SBA loan.
Oh, okay.
Some folks think it's waived if it's a smaller amount. In my opinion, be prepared. Just have a life insurance policy. If you're not working for a company that provides it, go get a life insurance policy. It'll save you time.
I did not know that. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
We'll prep your clients for all of that.
Gotcha. So
we want to make sure they go to the table, they meet with that bank. There's nothing outstanding on their part.
And both times we've had you on, Wendy, Danielle and I have looked at like combined 25, 26 years in the industry, and we looked at each other and go, I didn't know that. Did you know that?
So, I knew the Texas thing. I didn't know the life insurance thing. And I think that's one thing before like Wendy goes is like, if you're going to start looking at franchises, how can you be prepared for lending? Do you start that investigation early? Do I, like you said, with credit repair, do I go ahead and pull the Band-Aid and figure out like where my deficit is so that I can go ahead and do the things I need to do to make it a smoother process?
Absolutely. Again, when we're making a big purchase, like purchasing a house, what do? We sit down with our, probably our financial advisor, our CPA, but then we go to the mortgage broker and we understand what it's going to take to get the loan. Most of us get pre-approved for a mortgage before a real estate agent's willing to show us into a neighborhood. I equate it the same way. I want to know early on in the process what my bandwidth is. The last thing I want to do is look at a $5 million franchise if I can only afford $1 million franchise. So I do think it's important. And plus, I think it helps if I want to be a multi-unit owner. I want to know early on what my bandwidth is so I can plan for that. I think it's really important. The sooner the better.
Yeah, absolutely. So amazing. Wendy, thank you so much for coming on again today to talk to us, this time about the SBA loan process and all of the ways in which Benetrends Financial can help. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So, no, my pleasure. And we will be right back on the Franchising 360 show after this.
Thanks again for watching the Franchising 360 show, brought to you by FranCoach. Danielle and I hope these episodes continue to educate you on the franchise industry. In between our episodes, if you would like to learn more about franchising and the ways in which FranCoach can help, there are a few places you should check out. First, be sure to listen to the award-winning Franchising 101 podcast. You can find this on Spotify or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Next, check out the FranCoach YouTube channel, FranCoach for You. You can catch past episodes of the Franchising 360 show, plus tons of other content. If you like to read, we encourage you to check out the book, Becoming a Franchise Owner. And finally, when you are ready to take that first personalized step and explore franchise industry further, please reach out to our amazing team at FranCoach. There is never any fee for our service, so let us help you create your better tomorrow. Until next week, for Danielle Wright, I'm Tim Parmeter. Thanks for tuning in to the Franchising 360 show.